Right to the experts then. Joining us on the technical side, it's Larry Shover, CIO as SFG Alternatives. And on the fundamental side, we're joined by Jerry Webman, Chief Economist for Oppenheimer Funds. Let me start with you, Larry. What do you make of today's action? Are we looking at some kind of correction, or are we holding levels here?
This is actually not a correction whatsoever. Let's keep in mind that there's a lot of risk premium built into the downside with the stock market, especially speaking with the S&P 500. So any chance to sell ahead of this Bernanke meeting tomorrow, people are going to do so. If we can stay here 1390 to 1400 within the S&Ps today and tomorrow, that would be a very bullish, or I should say a bearish non-confirmation that we will continue to grind higher unless something should change the narrative on Friday in Wyoming.
Hey, Jerry Webman, I read one of your notes earlier today, and you made the comment, you said, don't buy sectors or even the market, buy individual companies. Try to sift through some of the noise and make sense for why you made that statement.
Well, I think there are always going to be sectors where there are good companies and bad companies. You know, you just talked about technology. Technology covers a broad range of what are really innovative companies that are doing things that nobody can replicate, that have a lot of pricing power. There's also a fair number of companies in that sector that are very much commodity producers and are going to move up and down with the cyclicality of the economy. And that's why I urge people, technology doesn't, somebody putting you in that category doesn't tell you very much. What tells you very much is what your market is, your business model is, and that's what people should be looking at.
Jerry, you mentioned should be looking at, but is that what they're really looking at? We've been talking about the Fed all week. Is that now more important?
Well, the politics are very important now, whether it's the Fed, it's what's happening in Europe, the monumental change that's occurring in China, and, of course, the U.S. presidential election. Those are critically important. But, those things are going to work out. Ultimately, companies that have great abilities to grow earnings will give good returns to the people who invest in them. It's just a lot more work to find them.
Larry Shover, you've always got a trade for people whenever you come on the air. What's your trade today?
My trade today is to pare down your risk at all costs right now because there's so many moving parts that we just don't know what the outcome is. And as I've said just previously, the risk premium is to the downside right now. It wouldn't take much for a negative shock to affect the market. However, with that said, if you're already in the market and can't get out or don't want to get out, this is still a good time to buy wide option spreads in the S&P 500. What I mean by that is buying at the money volatility and perhaps selling something out of the money to just protect yourself on the downside in case we do get some sort of correction.
Larry, very quickly, I mentioned 1,500 price target to Adam before we started the segment. Do you think that's actually possible in the short term?
In the short term, I don't see 1,500 whatsoever, although I do see that there's a wild, far-flung beta chase going on in the market. So I don't see the market maybe going to 1,500, maybe 1,450, 1,475. But at the end of the year, I think we're going to be exactly where we are right now, between 1,375 and 1,400 in the S&P.
Hey, Jerry Webman, Larry just used that fancy expression on us, a beta chase, which basically means you're trying to chase returns. So where are you beta chasing, so to speak?
Well, I wouldn't be beta chasing. Where I disagree with Larry, we got to be careful about what Larry said, is reduce risk. Many individuals in the U.S., most households, have got risk already very low, or they think they have it very low because they're so heavily invested in bonds and bank deposits and the like. So I'd be careful about urging people to take off risk right now. I hope people have some of the kind of risk that Larry's referring to take off. That's probably a bigger issue for many people.
All right, our special thanks to Larry Shover from SFG Alternatives and to Jerry Webman of Oppenheimer Funds, who will be staying with us throughout the entire hour.
He sure will be. All right, here's what you need.